I want to talk about the asymmetry of the war over here. We have a video from US CENTCOM over here. I just want to play it for you, where you're seeing these Shahid drones, Iranian Shahid drones, being targeted by US military assets. What we're seeing over here are individual drones that cost thousands of dollars and being struck by missiles that are worth millions of dollars. You were at a high position in the national security, as Deputy National Security Advisor to the Biden administration. How long do you think the US can sustain this kind of campaign?
Yeah, so this is one of the things you worry about in the context of a conflict like this, because you're showing drones now being taken out on the ground. When these drones are fired, they also need to be intercepted by relatively expensive and relatively scarce missiles, munitions that the United States and our allies have, but that supply is not infinite. And so, you get into this calculus of missile math. How many munitions does Iran have in its stockpiles? How many drones, how many ballistic missiles, how many cruise missiles? And then how many interceptors, the things that we use to shoot those munitions down, does the United States and our allies have? I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. Those numbers are certainly classified, but I can imagine that is one of the things that could prove a limiting factor on how long this conflict can go on, because what you don't want to do is be in a situation in which you're out of interceptors and the other side still has things that they can shoot at you, because you will not be able to defend.
Mr. Feiner, did you read the report that came out today about this sort of $1 billion radar, American radar, that was targeted in Qatar by an Israeli munition? What is the significance of that in the region?
I saw the report. Can't speak to whether that report is accurate, but I guess what I would say is
there's satellite images by Planet Labs that have come out as well.
I understand, but one thing that is a real problem in contemporary conflict, always been a problem in war. This phrase, the fog of war, is used probably too often, but it's pretty accurate. I was a journalist.
It's a black hole of war now.
I was a journalist in war zones. The initial reports that come out of conflict situations almost always have to be revised, and so let's just see. But I think what it underscores is that the longer this goes on, it does show that Iran still has capabilities to reach out and do harm to U.S. assets and people in the region. And so, that has not been eliminated at this point.
Iran attacking the AWS facility in Dubai.
The data centers.
The data center.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's just to damage the economy of West Asia, Iran deciding to do that? Whose game plan would it be to damage, a data center? Why would Iran do that?
So as far as I'm aware, it's the first time a data center has been targeted like this in conflict. Probably will not be the last time something like this happens, because computing power, processing power is one of the assets that countries bring to bear, including to give themselves a military advantage. So I am not saying that's what this data center was used for. I think probably more likely it was attacked because it was an emblem of some kind of the West and of America.
They
and
could have gone for Pizza Hut
Iran
or
was trying to show
McDonald's,
harm.
but this
no,
time
this
it's
is
very clever.
a strategic asset that a fast food restaurant isn't. But
if you remember Desert Storm and at that time, those were the targets, KFC and
symbols
Pizza
of
Hut,
American
symbols
power,
of American soft power.
Yeah.
But here, a data center, this is what America's future power is going to be, AI. And to hit at technology and at data centers, I think there's a bigger game.
Yeah,
right?
look. This is an asymmetric conflict. The United States and our allies have massive military advantages over Iran. A conventional conflict, military against military, is not going to go well for Iran. Has not been going well, by the way, for Iran. And from a military perspective, the United States has had extraordinary success against the Iranian military, against the Iranian regime. But what was always likely to happen in a conflict like this is Iran would choose asymmetric targets, going after civilian targets, going after allies, going after strategic assets like data centers. And the problem with that is, yes, it's illegal. Yes, it's against the laws of war. But this is an existential conflict now for the Iranian regime. They are not going to be bound by any sort of limits, and they do have the ability to inflict harm on us.